Hi, good day and welcome to Esso's Villa. It's your girl Essoe. This is still the month of March, and for the month of March, we had 2 days set aside to celebrate women, right? And we had the International Women's Day worldwide, and we had Mothering Sunday, or we'll call it Mother's Day. And I think it's still, in place to say Happy International Women's Day to our amazing women out there, and Happy Mother's Day to every mother out there. Today, I want us to quickly look at something that's trending, or that trended a few days back, and I'm sure it's not something that the majority of us have not seen. Let's look at a certain festival in Delta State called Ozoro Rape Festival. I think the first thing that was funny for me was realizing that a state has a festival tagged Rape Festival, which means that it is something that is embraced and enshrined in culture. But thank God that I didn't have to think too long, because we saw a statement from the palace that says there is nothing like a rape festival in Delta States. Sign of relief. But then they went ahead to say there is such a festival called the Aloedo. I don't know if I pronounced that right, festival. And that the essence of this festival, it's a fertility festival where they pray to the gods, to bless those who are looking for child. And that ideally in this festival, what happens is that the individual who needs a child is being accosted on the way, dragged, maybe poured water on, right? Something you may want to call assault. This is something that happens in the festival. I don't even want to go into the whole topic of the individual, because an individual is not the one looking for child. It is couples that look for children, male and female together. But it is believed that this prayer is being carried out by the male folks, and that every woman is expected to be indoors within a particular time, right? So it is the ones who are seen outside that are said to face that mild assault that is, wrapped in tradition. But what disturbing footages have we seen online where ladies are being chased by group of young men, assaulted, molested, raped, stripped naked on the street because they ought not to have been out? I think this is really, really alarming. It is something we want to look into. I mean, there are footages of young ladies, couple of them online, coming out to say they've been victims of this, mentioning people they know who have been victims, mentioning how traumatizing it's been for them, even at young age, to hear when some women are being raped just behind their houses, and nobody comes out to the rescue simply because it's tradition. Growing up, we used to know that culture is being seen as the way of life of a people. Each and every one of us, every society, every community, what makes them communities, that they have certain traditions and culture that defines them. However, some of these traditions, were handed down to us, coming from people who didn't know better. And some of them have served their usefulness. So it is very important that those who are the custodians of tradition begin to look into traditions that no longer serve us, or traditions that does not make the environment safe for everyone within that community. We need to begin to look at them, do away with the ones that we need to do away with, or rewrite the ones that we need to rewrite to serve purpose. A nation, a community, a society is blessed with both males and female. Even the birds in the sky, they have two wings to fly. Even you as an individual, you have two legs to work, which means that for every society to function well, optimally, rights or culture must be in a way that it's empowering both genders, the male and the female. Somebody once said that traditions are the way of the dead still holding the living in prison. And I think this really is true because in 2026, what are we doing with such tradition? Painfully is when the traditional ruler says no case of rape have been reported. The police says no case of rape have been reported. But we're really concerned. How did that of 2026 escalate? If you say it's the internet has been here for quite a long time. I just want to bring this to public notice, right? And to talk about the fact that culture or traditions must not be in a way that it disempowers the people that it is meant to protect. Culture and traditions were meant to protect, you know, the people and not to abuse or disempower them. I also want to appreciate the 30 states police who have gone ahead, who have put up statement that they've made arrests. But I also want to ask, how did the young men we see footages of them chasing after ladies, where did that orientation happen? Because the community is claiming, the elders are claiming that no, this is not what this is about. So who handed this over to them? Where were they trained? Where did the orientation that, oh, this is what they are going to be doing happen? Ozoro town or Ozoro community is not just strictly an indigenous community. We have a university there, polytechnic, which means that we have foreigners in that land. Was there any notice that went out saying that for so and so period, these ladies should not be out? So there is a lot to really, really look into on this matter. Want to reach out and, ask that the traditional ruler and his cabinet sit down and revisit this culture. Meanwhile, we want to say thank you to everyone who has stood out, especially the male folks who have stood out to condemn this act. Thank you for standing up to protect the women. Thank you for standing up to speak your truth. We will do a follow up to this video because when things like this happen, it sparks up, it shows certain level of, dysfunctionality within the society. And we really want to begin to look at, is there a way where we can have the communal cleansing, right? Where people can heal together as a community. Because we already see a gender war up. All men are, all women are, and this is not healthy for any society. We need both genders to live in harmony, live in fullness, have a society where they are both able to maximize their potentials to the fullest. Let me hear your comment. Let me hear your thoughts down below. What do you think? How did this happen? And what did you think is responsible for this becoming a national or even an international, subject in 2026? Let me hear your comment below. Thank you for watching. Bye.